Boy, wow, now that I'm a landlord, I've been warned for decades about the horrors of being a landlord. They say no good deed goes unpunished. This is a true story. My renter, one renter that I have, I got two renters now. It's an older lady in her 60s. She's originally from Canada, and she's living on my property here in town, which is not cheap. And well, the person living next to her, and there's a lot of really expensive houses in the area. She had to call the cops on the person next door, another lady. And my renter is super meek. She's Canadian, which they're all meek. And I've been back and forth between my renter, the police department, and my renter again, and back and forth. And that took up, nearly 3 hours of my time this evening. And now my renter is afraid, due to the crazy person that lives next door. And I knew something bad would happen. This is true. You can't make this up. I felt bad for her because she's kind of low on money. And I went to Sam's Club. It's kind of like Costco. And I bought her some food yesterday. I brought her out a giant bag of potatoes, some expensive spaghetti sauce, some dried fruit that she says she likes. I didn't have to do this. I wasn't planning on doing it every month. This big package of not cheap but expensive hamburger patties. I brought her out 2 giant bags of food. And I thought at the time, no good deed goes unpunished. And sure enough, less than 24 hours after giving her that food, the crazy person that lives next door to my renter, police department. By the way, I haven't made many videos for the past 5 days, is because, and this goes to what I've been saying for years now, and I actually have some really important stuff to talk about in this video. I don't know, just let me tell the story really quickly. My dad had a $100 gift certificate to this expensive restaurant here in town, Lexington, called Ramsey's. It's very expensive. That's where you got to wear like a 3-piece suit. And it was for pickup. My dad said, well, you could buy some food. If you go pick up the food, you could pick up something for yourself. Like, I don't like to eat out. But I thought, ooh, it's an expensive restaurant. It can't be that bad. So I picked up a burger, and I threw away the bun. I just ate the burger patty and some chicken fingers, which I pulled all the breading off of it, and I just ate the chicken finger meat. I got so deathly ill. My parents, who both, picked up, they got not as deathly ill as me, but I mean, it's like, super expensive restaurant. The whole family gets really sick. I got really, really sick. What's happening now, and I've never done this before, the 8,000 plus videos that I've made, not that I'm aware of, because I just made a video in the same ilk a few days ago, but so much has happened that the unthinkable seems like it's about to go down. And I don't know if you know what's happening between India and Pakistan. It's very, very important. And some other things. There's just a few major points I'd like to get here to quickly. That JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, and Bank of America has added money to their bottom line to cover expected future losses. There is unquestionably now a huge economic downturn that's about to happen. I've been talking for years about people not being able to pay their bills, but without showing a bunch of boring graphs, the actual percentage of people that can't afford to pay their bills is absolutely off the charts. Even Capital One reports that people now, way worse than ever, way worse, including 2019 to 2022, we know what was happening then. People are only making the minimum payments, or they're defaulting. They're just choosing not to pay. I've set up a lot of solar panel systems, including charge controllers and power inverters and batteries, including at my own cabin. I don't know if you've heard this or not. You can pull it up anywhere on the internet. Don't take my word for it. It sounds like it's totally untrue. 3,521% tariff, not 350. No, 3,521% tariff increase from our side on solar panels and solar panel related equipment, charge controllers, power inverters. U.S. trade officials are preparing to impose these tariffs at 3,521% on imports of solar panel equipment from Southeast Asian countries. China actually got around this some years ago, and they started just making it all come out of Southeast Asia. Well, now we're actually putting them on Southeast Asia. International Energy Agency said lessons from the energy crisis following Russian and they're going to target Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam, which is where China had moved all of its production and export to get around the tariffs from X number of years ago. I don't know if you have any idea what 3,521% tariff looks like, but I don't think you do. This is not making the news anywhere in Europe that I'm aware of, and it's not making the news here. By the way, India has urged, it's demanded, not urged, all of its citizens to leave Pakistan immediately. There's a huge event, I'm going to call it, that some citizens of Pakistan did upon some citizens of India. I'm not going to get into particulars of that. 3:56 p.m. today, India closed all the floodgates at the 4 separate water dams that go along the Indus River. This feeds the fresh water into Pakistan. I don't know if you know what the Indus River from the Himalayas. When it passes through India, there's these floodgates where India could cut it off. And of course, there's a it's been in effect since the 1960s. And it's been completely suspended as of like 72 hours ago. It's called the Indus River Water Treaty, which means that India will allow the water from the Indus River to flow into Pakistan. The Indus River flows literally through the entirety of Pakistan. I don't know what percentage of the water for crops and for drinking water and every use water has, but it's an enormous percentage. It's the vast majority of the water that feeds Pakistan. Crops, water, everything. Toilets, drinking water. India has shut it off. I've seen videos confirming that they have shut it off. Pakistan said if this happens, and this was done today, that there would be immediate... I don't know if you know what Pakistan's first strike policy is, and I don't know if you know how many of those uranium, plutonium devices Pakistan has. I don't know if they have as much or as many as India, but they're kind of on par. The answer to both countries is a lot. The 4 floodgates have been shut off. Yesterday's response to the event in Kashmir, tourists blamed. I don't want to get into that. That's what instigated it. They suspended the Indus River Water Treaty. And it flows completely from the Himalayas through northern India. It flows through the entirety of Pakistan. The spillways and the final water dam to the Indus River are now confirmed shut off, halting all fresh water, essentially all fresh water from the Indus Valley from flowing into Pakistan. And it flows throughout the entirety of Pakistan. There are new videos emerging literally by the hour, and this isn't making the Western news anywhere at all. The things are escalating. I've seen videos at the airport in Kashmir because India warned all of its citizens to immediately flee Pakistan, and they are. As far as the tariffs, nobody's really concerned about it, but the problem is, under even the most favorable conditions, China and the factories restarting the economic ties, as though nothing had happened, it would still be another 30 days before economic activity revived to even close proximity of what it was before this kicked off on, April the 10th? Yeah. And that's just Los Angeles. Chicago, Houston, you'll need to wait another 45 days after the manufacturing, shipping restarts. This all kicked off on April the 10th. So you actually have current supplies, which once they're out, endless reports from countless different entities show that these freight ships are sitting idle, either full or empty. They're just not moving. It's going to take 30 days for ocean shipping containers to go from China to Los Angeles, 45 days to Houston, and also 45 days to Chicago by train, or 55 days to New York by sea. This means that there is still no economic supply chain from what had been cut off, essentially cut off by April the 10th until May the 10th. May is, of course, just, 6 days from now. Around that time, once it kicks off, if it does, trucking work is going to dry up. Warehouses are already doing layoffs because no labor is needed to unload containers that aren't actually there. Some products will be out of stock before then, especially, I've been telling you people for like a week now, and nobody, either see it still on the shelves, or they don't understand how things work. When the supply chain is cut off, everything over here, like where you're at and I'm at, looks rosy. So there is no problem, it's still on the shelf there. No, yeah, it's still on the shelf, it's still cheap. Yes, it is right now. Wait for the supplies to end. The supply chain has been cut off. Not only the prices are going to be way higher, even if they get restored tomorrow, there's going to be a big gap. Things that you use on a daily basis, whatever cheap item that it is, you should stock up on it. Now, nobody's listening. People just love to be oblivious. First thing to start hitting is Los Angeles, but if everything got restored to normal tomorrow, and there's no indication at all that anything's going to be restored anytime, at least within the next week, at the very minimum. People just, they don't realize. They absolutely don't realize. The thing that I noticed, and I talked to people about this for years now, and I didn't think it'd actually get any worse. But it is getting worse. That place where I pick up is the reason why you can't trust anybody anymore to do anything. I had 2 encounters, and you're going to say, well, that's just anecdotal. I read every comment. Every comment. And I talk to a lot of people. You can't trust anybody anymore to do anything. I would love to have that wooden placard, and it need to be in every store. It says, just do your job. And I tried to get an order from Manhattan. I had to call back 4 times. And all is simple. It's like, this is me. This is the order. They can't do it. They're so lazy, so inept. When I went to pick up that, here's a double whammy. That food that poisoned me and my parents. My mother's got a heck of a constitution. It takes a lot to get to her, so if it nearly wipes me out, it'll just make her sick. Seems like. Some people have an iron stomach. When I went there to pick it up, you're supposed to park in a spot for pickups. I didn't know it, but the pickup door is like 20 feet to the right. I went into the restaurant. Ramsey's there, by the way, in case you want to know. I talked to the woman. I said, I'm here for a pickup, my name. She said, well, if you want to pick it up, then you need to go to the pickup window where you actually park out in the parking lot for, a little spot that has a sign in front of it that says pickup. I said, you want me to step outside of this restaurant? I never eat out at restaurants, by the way. I despise restaurants. You want me to leave this restaurant, get in my car, drive it 20 feet, and start this all over again? She looked at me like I had completely lost my mind. I said, does that sound rational or logical to you? She said, she started rolls her eyes, she goes in the back. I was like, well, they're just an inept, younger generation person, right? Well, a guy about my age, who's the manager, they've all been V'd. You know what V'd means? The guy that was her manager about my age, they've all been V'd. You know exactly what I mean. He comes over, I tell him, I said, can you believe that? I said, that's just illogical and irrational. Nobody's yelling or using any sort of colorful language, meaning me. I said, she wanted me to get in my car and drive 20 feet over here to get a pickup. I'm already here for the pickup. And he looks at me like I'm also completely, jabberwonky in my brain. I said, would you do that? I said, that's completely, which is 100% undeniable. What if somebody came into your store to pick up something? You said, well, go back downstairs, go to your car, move it 20 feet to the left, and start this over. It's like, I'm not doing that. That's irrational. They could have gone back there and put something in the food, which is what I was worried about. And I thought to myself, well, this isn't like a Burger King. I never eat at those places either. Surely not this super expensive restaurant, but expensive restaurants are probably more likely to do it. So not only did I get that treatment at Ramsey's, it's just People have become, I should start up a business where I only hire logical, intelligent people. And what you do is you're so sick of dealing with these minds of people that are basically like a multi-legged exoskeleton creature. You know, that stuff that you spray with rage, that you call people like me up at my business and you say, listen, I need this really simple thing done, but since everybody is mentally deflated, I'm going to pay you X number of dollars to get it done. Because I can't sit here on the phone all day long getting something done that before, when you dial up saying, yeah, I need this, and here's my debit card or whatever, boom, boom. Okay, take care of it, boom. Used to be that simple. Now people are mad at you because they're so mentally inept at the very substratum of their being that they don't even know how to put two and two together. You tell them, you want me to get my car and drive it 20 feet to the left? Literally, like 20 feet to the left. For a pickup, I'm already here at the restaurant for the pickup. How about, you know, I'm the fat lazy guy, right? These people are young and healthy, very healthy. I was like, why don't you shuffle your feet back there and get what I came here for? You need to be doing your job. Of course, I didn't say that to her, but that's what I should have said. And I thought, well, this manager is my age. He's going to know better. He's just as bad as her. They've all been V'd. At least that's my conclusion. That's a really great idea for a business. I'm actually floating that out there to you. Should I start a business where you call intelligent, rational, logical people up that can get stuff done? It's like, listen, I got to work. I can't spend all day on the phone. You know how to get stuff done, and I really do know how to get stuff done. You should see me on the phone. I'm a powerhouse. I'm not just saying that. I'm going to pay you X number of money to get it done because I just can't spend all day on the phone talking to dumb people. This thing with India and Pakistan, Pakistan has a blast first and ask questions later. That's not technically correct, but it's essentially correct. What if like 90% of the fresh water that comes into your country was like, they cut the valve off on it? What would you think would happen in any country that if you cut off like 90% of the water? What do you think would happen? It's confirmed shut off. There's nobody in the news media talking about this. Nobody. It's actually like a 911 situation. That's going on right now. 3,521% tariffs on solar panel and solar panel equipment. I'm glad I got like about 15, 20 spare solar panels in this house. I somewhere in the back of my mind knew if something goes wrong, like, I think it's like 85+% of solar panels come out of Southeast Asia, and they're all controlled by China. Used to be all China, but China slightly off-sourced their solar panels to Southeast Asia. Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Burma. I knew that was going to happen, and the tattooed monkey was right. 3,520. Basically running a buck a watt. Less than that, technically. So 200-watt solar panel, technically like 180 if you buy 2 or a 4-pack of them. Let's just say $200. What's 3,520% of $200? What does that work out to? Per each 200-watt solar panel. And it's just not solar panels, it's the equipment, the inverters and the charge controllers. I don't know about the batteries, but definitely the charge controllers and inverters. So tell me what you think. I didn't think it'd be getting worse than this. The Capital One reports people are defaulting on all their cards and or they're making minimum payments at way above the levels between 2019 and 2022. Everything is about to collapse. Every indicator says everything is about to financially fold up like a cheap card table. My question to you is what sort of diversification you've done to make preparations for yourself. There might be something ingenious out there that you thought of that I haven't. I doubt it, but I have an open mind. I love listening to answers to things. I really do. I literally gave that food to my renter yesterday. It's like, this is no nice. I mean, there's no landlord that brings free food to the renters. High dollar food, too. I'm like, I knew this was going to bite me. It was just 24 hours ago. And this whole thing, she says she's afraid now and she wants to move somewhere else. I'm giving her a really, really, really great deal on the land, but now she's afraid because of the crazy people that live next door. I have no control over that, but she has a contract, but I can't hold her to the contract. You know, she defaults on it. What good is a contract? A renter's contract. It's like, what are you going to do? Get as the old saying goes, you're going to get orange juice out of a turnip. But you can't. You can't hold these people to their contracts. It'd be nice if you could. You could ruin their credit rating and all sorts of. I'm not like that. If she decides to bolt, then I have to find somebody else to take up the mantle of the property as far as renting it. But people were knocking my door down almost literally to rent it, so I won't have any difficulty renting it to somebody, but I don't want to have to go through that again. But what can you do? I've been told about how awful it is to be a landlord. And of course they were all right. Not that I didn't think they weren't right. I'd love to hear from you. I hope you have a lovely week, and goodbye. Oh, dear God, every day it is something. Every day.